So David and Jeff, let's talk about integrating the skills, the practice management, and the competencies into real life application inside an advisory practice. Jeff, walk us through what we refer to as the sales funnel, taking someone from the area of being a suspect all the way through becoming a client advocate.
I think, Phil, when you think about the sales funnel as a visual, it really helps advisors really understand the metric of what they're actually doing. We talk about the strategies, we talk about the tactics, and sometimes it gets kind of confusing as to how does each piece fit and each piece work someone down through that pipeline to ultimately create a customer, a client, or a raving fan. It begins with recognizing we have to source the opportunity from somewhere. As you're thinking about sourcing in your practice, we might find opportunities from introductions from current clients. Those folks that are delighted with our level of service who will tell their friends that they should have a conversation to determine if it might be a match for them as well. It could include an introduction from a center of influence, understanding that those that we work with in that expertise area can help us introduce others to our practice that might equally be delighted with our level of service. It's also important to recognize that we should perhaps think about developing a specialty. A niche profile, if you will, that allows us to truly excel with a certain subset of group. But once we find that individual, what we have to recognize is it's just beginning, because that person begins as a suspect. That's the person that we believe fits the profile of the client we best serve. Once we find that suspect, what we have to do is be able to tell them a story that makes them feel that we may have some information that might be of benefit, of interest, and help them with the goals that are important to them and their families. And we begin to use our branding message. That branding message helps them say, I would like to learn more. That sounds like something I would be interested in. And then we can now have a prospect. But the ultimate goal is to move that prospect on down through the pipeline. So we try to then do a job of discovery, understanding what's happening in their world, where they are, where they want to be. And through that discovery, we identify a gap or an opportunity to serve to help them ultimately be positioned to accomplish their goals. From there, we recognize that the next step is ultimately to create a qualified prospect with that gap that they would like to fix, and we present a solution to create a client. But that's not the end, that's just the beginning, because we know that we have to begin to serve that client with the way that we've articulated the client experience and what it means to them. So we begin to deliver that ideal, that delightful client experience. We put together a very customized communication plan, one that allows them to be informed by information that we think is important to them, but at the same time gives them the opportunity to share information with us. And we certainly want to delight and reward a relationship with the client experience. But again, there's so much more that we can do, because no matter where we find someone today, we know that the future holds new and different challenges to help them ultimately achieve those goals. So we continue to expand the relationship. We do that by having conversations about what's changed in their world. Sometimes the changes are voluntary. They've decided to retire, to sell a business, or to bring a partner in. Other times it's involuntary. Maybe the laws changed, the rules have changed, but regardless, we need to be there with them. We attempt to gather additional assets, to consolidate, perhaps as they begin to approach retirement, recognizing there might be a rollover involved, but ways that we can consolidate their assets to give them that true trusted advisor experience. Then ultimately, we know that there are as many as 13 issues that could impact their success. Our role is to understand which ones are important to them, have conversations, and understand the role that those may play. As we begin to expand that relationship and discuss additional issues, now we're starting to create that advocate, that raving fan that we ultimately want to build our practices around.
And Jeff, as you say that, one of the things that I've always helped advisors with is running their practice more efficiently and more effectively. Way back when we were all trained in the industry, the 10-3-1. And understanding making 10 contacts gets you 3 appointments, and those 3 appointments lead to 1 opportunity for the advisor. Historically, in walking through this process and going through the sales funnel, we'll find ourselves running along a track of 10, 9, 8. In other words, running your practice as an advisor and your team much more efficient and more effective with the skills in growing your business.